Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, and committee members. I am Oxnard Police Commander Rocky Marquez, and tonight I'll be presenting on Drone as a First Responder, or DFR. The recommendation is that the Community Services Public Safety Housing and Development Committee receives and files a report by the Police Department on drone use and authorize the Police Department staff to explore the development of a Drone as a First Responder, or DFR, plan for the City of Oxnard. Small, remotely operated, unmanned aerial systems, UAS, also commonly referred to as drones, are an efficient and effective way of providing law enforcement critical information to respond to calls for service in emergency situations, or to conduct criminal investigations. In 2018, the Police Department began studying the use of drone technology in its public safety operations. In 2018 and 2019, the Police Department presented its plan to a variety of groups, including the Police Chiefs Advisory Board, Inter-Neighborhood Council Organization, the Community Relations Commission, the City Council's Public Safety Committee, and eventually the City Council in October of 2019. The Police Department's efforts were well supported. On November 13, 2019, the Oxnard Police Department successfully conducted its first UAS flight. The Police Department's UAS program is currently based on a response model. Under this model, qualified drone pilot officers respond when called upon from other assignments with drones. The Police Department currently has 10 sworn officers who comprise the UAS unit. Looking into the future, the Police Department recognizes the continued integration of UAS in public safety roles. Given their value, growing utility, and our continued successes, the Oxnard Police Department is seeking to explore the deployment of its own drone as a first responder program. If this can be established, Oxnard would be the first DFR agency in the Tri-Counties region and will strive to serve as a model agency in this field. DFR is a network of drones that are pre-positioned across the city in fully automated launch sites, known as nests, and are ready to respond to calls for service. Upon remote deployment, the nest opens and the drone flies from it. When it has completed its response, the drone returns, lands on its charging pad, and the nest closes its protective doors. The aircraft are remotely operated by an FAA-licensed sworn officer pilot, situated in a command center in the police headquarters building. The DFR drone has an onboard camera that streams high-definition video to the police department's real-time operations center. The drone pilot, a police officer trained in critical incident management, controls the drone remotely and communicates with responding units on the ground. DFR has demonstrated the ability to increase officer and community safety and efficient deployment of officers. Between 2018 and 2024, the city of Chula Vista, California, which has been a pioneer in incorporating UAS into its police department operations, used DFR drones 18,225 times for calls for service. With DFR, Chula Vista was able to respond to calls without the use of a patrol unit in 4,156 of those calls, or 22.8% of the time. DFR has shown great successes in reducing overall police response time. In Chula Vista, during the 6 years of operation, DFR drones had an average response time of 92 seconds to calls in which they were the first on scene, and 110 seconds as an overall response time. The police department intends to explore the feasibility of starting its own DFR program, with an intended start date in early 2025. The intent is to determine a suitable number of DFR nest sites, a suitable UAS platform, and hours of operations. It is likely that a startup DFR program would set an initial goal of approximately 10 hours of UAS integration with patrol division responses, spanning 7 days of the week. The first phase of the DFR program would seek to cover approximately 70% of the city's land surface area. Using historical and trending calls for service data, the DFR aims to cover areas in the city where approximately 80% of police service calls are generated. Later phases would potentially expand the coverage area as well as the days and times of operations. The police department's effort to establish a DFR program would involve community outreach, such as public meetings. Topics would include, but not be limited to, overview of the police department's UAS program, highlighting success stories involving their use, efforts to communicate the police department's existing policies on the use of UAS, remote pilot qualifications and standards, and matters related to transparency, accountability, and honoring privacy rights. There is no financial impact from this report. Police Department staff would conduct a thorough review of suitable UAS platforms and explore funding sources for them. That is the end of my report, and we are now available for any questions you may have. Thank you for your time.